quote, betrayed. Fierce backlash tonight from the MAGA base after this surprising announcement with great fanfare from the Trump administration.
I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability.
He's sitting next to a member of the Qatari royal family there, just to be clear. It's an announcement that caught everyone off guard. The administration greenlighting a plan for Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. And Trump's base is livid about it. Far-right activist Laura Loomer, who has Trump's ear, highly influential in MAGA world, lashing out. One of her posts, she says, what the hell is going on? Why are we trying to train more Muslims how to fly planes on U.S. soil? Didn't we already learn our lesson? Why are we encouraging more Islamic infiltration of our country by the founders of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood? This is very bad for our national security. And by the way, she had a lot more where that came from. Laura Loomer, in fact, has fired off about 40 more posts on X, slamming the decision. 40 posts on this today. Watch them populate the screen. They're mad. At one point, writing, this is where I draw the line. I am not voting in 2026. And then Steve Bannon came out and told Newsweek there should never be a military base of a foreign power on the sacred soil of America. Now, to clarify, Qatar is building a facility to house a squadron of F-15 pilots and teams. I mean, that's a lot of Qatari military personnel on an existing U.S. base. And maybe there are serious security concerns with that, but there are concerns. There are when it comes to corruption. For one, this is the same country that gifted Trump the luxury jet. Remember the jet? Reported price tag on it was $400 million. The jet that Trump wants to use is Air Force One, right? That was Qatar. And by the way, when it comes to money, because it always does, Trump's family and the Qataris are business partners now. Eric Trump recently unveiled plans for a new golf course and a beachside resort in Qatar. And Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has raised billions of dollars from several Middle Eastern countries, including Qatar. Qatar is also central to the Trump's Middle East crypto strategy, which is now the bulk of his net worth, helped make his children billionaires. Most recently, Qatar also made sure to stay in Trump's good graces by rolling out the red carpet for the president during his visit as president. Fighter jets escorted Air Force One into the airspace of Qatar. On the ground, the spectacle had Cybertrucks, horses, and camels, a welcome for a royal. But on top of all of that, there is this. Trump just signed an executive order defending Qatar's security, giving NATO-level security guarantees to Qatar. Which, by the way, just to be clear about what that could mean, I mean, it should be obvious, but I guess I should also note that Qatar has been hit with missiles from Iran and Israel, both in the past 3 months. It's an incredible series of events. I mean, by the way, in any case, it's an incredible series of events to lay all that out. I can't even believe I'm saying it, and this is real, but it is. But then there's also this, what Trump actually said in the past on the record about the Qataris before they showered him with gifts and money.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
And that right there is a big part of why MAGA is breaking with Trump over this Qatari Air Force facility in the state of Idaho. But by the way, this is not the only crack splitting the MAGA world. This was today, but Joe Rogan has spoken out, tearing into Trump's immigration policy.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Tucker Carlson going after the administration for using Charlie Kirk's assassination to try to silence critics.
Because they can tell you what to say. They're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul.
And when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, Marjorie Taylor Greene slamming a statement by the White House that labeled any support for the release of the Epstein files as a, quote, hostile act.
The Hostile Act has been against these women for so many years now. The Hostile Act is covering up for Jeffrey Epstein and everyone else that's been involved in this. And that's the real Hostile Act.
Kristen Holmes is out front live outside the White House. And, you know, Kristen, obviously we're putting in the context of so many issues where there are fault lines. But tonight, real anger in MAGA world.
A C-SPAN caller yesterday made an emotional plea directly to the Speaker of the House, asking for military families to receive their pay during the shutdown. The woman told the Speaker she's a military spouse with 2 medically fragile children and that her family lives paycheck to paycheck.
And as a Republican, I'm very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you because you do have the power to call the House back. You did that, or you refused to do that just for a show. I am begging you to pass this legislation. My kids could die. We don't have the credit because of the medical bills that I have to pay regularly. You could stop this, and you could be the one that could say military's getting paid. And I think that it is awful, and the audacity of someone who makes 6 figures a year to do this to military families is insane.
All right, Samantha.
Samantha, I'm so sorry to hear about your situation. The Democrats are the ones that are preventing you from getting a check. If we did a vote on the floor to pay troops, it's not a lawmaking exercise because Chuck Schumer is going to hold that up in the Senate. He is demonstrating by voting now 6 times to keep the government closed that he does not want the troops to be paid. And you should listen to his comments last night, as reported this morning. He is enjoying this. He said every day gets better for us, quote unquote. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are preventing your family from getting the care they need, not Republicans, and my heart goes out to you.
And just so you know, Politico is reporting that House Democrats are preparing a letter to you, Speaker Johnson, urging a vote on troop pay.
You know why they are? Because they all voted on the record 3 weeks ago to stop pay for the troops. They're desperate to try to get on record, but that would be a show vote for Democrats. They do not care about it. They demonstrated that with their votes. Look at what they do and how they vote, not what they say.
Then on a conference call yesterday with House Republicans, Johnson made it clear he doesn't plan on passing a standalone bill to pay the troops before Wednesday. That's when military personnel are set to miss their first paychecks. That's according to 2 Republican sources on the call. I want to bring in Annalise Keller. She's a former communications director for Republican Senator Cory Gardner, and also with us, former Democratic Congressman Max Rose of New York. Thank you both for being here to break down the week. This is very much in your wheelhouse as both former congressional people on various sides. Annalise, I want to start with you there. I think this is the thing that has been so shocking to me about this shutdown is that pain doesn't feel like a motivator at this point. Like, it was heartbreaking to listen to the speaker hear that. I know from Democrats that they are hearing the same kind of things at home where people are saying, I don't actually care about the politics. I would just like the government to function the way that I need it to and not have to think about you guys. But why does this one feel so different?
Yeah, it does feel different. There doesn't feel to be a lot of pain yet. I think next week things are going to start to shift, but I'm not confident that anything is really going to change. One of those reasons is because we have shut down the government over the last, since 2013 when I was on the Hill, which was the first time since the Gingrich era, which we navigated a lot of those challenges to figure out how to make sure people were paid and that furlough pay was back paid. So we figured out some of those things that I think made it, very difficult to engage in a shutdown. And now these are really seen as, a political sort of maneuver to try and get a policy goal, which is not typically successful for the party instigating it.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's not typically successful for the party instigating it. And yet at the same time, you also hear people say, well, Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. Why can't they do something here? It ignores the fact that you need 60 votes in the Senate, which, of course, is the procedural reality. But, Congressman, how do you feel that Democrats have played their hands on this? I think I have spoken to some who agree that Schumer's quote there was a misstep, because I am one who argues that no one actually wins in a shutdown.
Sure. I mean, I don't think individual quotes here are what matters. When you have a legislative package, which is the way that Congress normally functions, these things are thousands of pages long, and honestly, many members of Congress aren't sure exactly what's in there when they vote for them. During a shutdown, it's exactly the opposite. Things get whittled down to very, very targeted decision points. And the decision for the Republicans is shockingly simple, even just from a pure political calculation, which is, do you want to continue to have the suffering associated with a shutdown, or You just want to give people their health care back. Like, it's not as if the Democrats are asking for something that is like a political third rail in this sense, where the Republicans will have to make some type of political sacrifice. Throw on top of that just a simple vote to pay the troops. And yet again, the Republicans continue to play politics here. And I think what this ultimately brings it back to is two things that have nothing to do with true pay or health care. One, they don't want to vote on the Epstein files. That's why the speakers continue to keep Congress shut down. And two,
they're simply asking for the government that they pay for, nothing more and nothing less. I've been critical of both sides and how they've communicated, because there doesn't seem to be the desire to end this. Instead, there's the desire to pin the tail on the donkey. And in the end, that won't be good enough. In the end, the public expects something better from their elected officials.
We see your Go Army spirit finger over your right shoulder there, and you can't ignore, Frank, military families are getting hosed in this, right? We're expecting they're going to miss a paycheck next week, another one if this goes on. How much does that factor into the politics of this?
Significantly. There are two things that you do not do in the shutdown. You do not punish Social Security recipients, because hell hath no fury like a senior who's been denied their benefits, even for a few days. And the other group that you do not punish are people, are men and women in uniform. Both of those will be significant players. And if that should happen in the end, they'll be held to pay at the ballot box. People do forgive. Issues happen, crises happen, and moods change. But if you deny our people in uniform their salaries, their benefits, you're going to have a problem months or even on election day a year from now.
Trump, he is infuriating his base. He's infuriating military people because he's not paying them in some cases. He's infuriating their family, their loved ones. And now with this Qatar thing, remember the people that are giving him a free airplane, now he's giving them unprecedented military access. And so this is angering people. All of this is angering people across the political spectrum, right? And as noted there, and I don't even agree with Frank Luntz's thesis that that both sides are at fault here, because it's really not true. Like, the Democrats, if they have any fault at all, they are keeping things shut down, quote unquote, because Republicans refuse to actually get the job done, and to protect healthcare, not just now but for decades to come. So there's not equal fault here. But he is right when he says the American people especially don't like when veterans and seniors don't get paid. And that's frustrating to me, because and active service members and veterans. But because all people are equal. So if children suffer, it seems like people care less about children suffering than they do those two groups. I think, children should probably be at the very top, but everyone should probably be more or less equal, right? Like, in the United States, no one should be above the law or below the law, right? There should be no privileged classes of people. And yet you have to deal with political realities. And in that political reality, if you're screwing veterans, if you're screwing servicemen and women, and if you're screwing seniors, that's going to hit you in the polls. And that's going to hit you with interest groups. And that's going to hit you with members of your own party and of the other party. And so Donald's making big mistakes here. He's operating like he doesn't have to run again, and he doesn't. He's not allowed to run again. That's the Constitution, baby. That's what it is, right? Love it or hate it, term limits, they exist. But his whole party is acting like they don't have to run again. Now, that's a sign of their growing fascism, but it's also a sign that I don't think they're ready for 2026.